a young friend, an adorable girl that I love as much as though she were my own daughter. And sometimes in her smile and in her glance, I can see the face of another child that I met in the bush war. We came to a village one day. The sun beat down out of the sky. It was blisteringly hot, and it was a welcome break for us to be able to stop and take a breather. And whenever we entered a village, I always tried to gauge the mood of the people. And sometimes one would be met with hostility, and that always gave rise to suspicions that perhaps there were terrorists in the vicinity and that they had been in contact with the villagers. At other times one was just met with pure indifference. But there were a good many occasions when one would be met with friendliness and openness. And this seemed to be that sort of a village. And I relaxed a little bit. I lowered my weapon down onto its butt and felt for my water bottle. I knew by the weight of it that there wasn't much in there, but I was thirsty. And I unclipped it, took it out of its pouch, and unscrewed the cap and shook it a little bit and looked inside, and there was precious little in there. And then I became aware of a young girl watching me. She was about 10 or 11 years old. And I returned her gaze, and she had seen that I had no water with me. And so, without being asked, she turned and ran off to a hut and came back with a small hollowed out calabash containing some water. And she held this up to me with a big smile. And I very gratefully held my water bottle out, and she poured the contents of this calabash into it. Well, it didn't even go halfway to filling it. And so she ran off gleefully to go and fetch some more. And while she was gone, I drank some of it, and she came back presently, still with a big smile and almost giggling. And so she proceeded to fill this water bottle. Well, she couldn't speak a word of English. I doubt that she had any education. I wondered if she's ever been out of that village. Probably not. As I looked at her, I thought, "Oh, I wish I had something that I could give her in return to show my gratitude." Now, the army had a branch at that time called psychological action, and broadly speaking, what they were trying to do was to win the hearts and minds of the people. And so we would sometimes be lectured by representatives from that branch and told how we should behave ourselves when we were in contact with locals and so on and so forth. Well, like many soldiers, I didn't go along with much of what they had to say. In fact, there were aspects of that program which seemed pretty foolhardy to me. But one of the things that they did try and do was to encourage the troops to put it very bluntly, to go around and pat kids on their heads and give them sweeties. Well, right at that moment, I wished that I did have some sweeties or something that I could give her, but I had nothing. And I don't think she expected anything. And then it dawned on me that there was nothing really meaningful and lasting that I could give her. She had it all already. She had an inner peace. She had happiness. She had even a serenity about her that I don't see in many adults. And so the important things in life nobody could give her. She had them already. They were hers. And it just made me so sad to think of the number of times when children such as this one were snatched away from their homes, from their parents, by the terrorists, force-marched across the country, over the border, into the unspeakable horrors of the camps that waited for them. Some of them never to return to their families again. an horrific situation, and I was always very glad whenever we had a contact where there were captives like that they were able to maybe get away during the engagement, or we were able to free them afterwards and return them to their families. Well, I said goodbye to the girl, and she waved, and we walked out of the village and continued on our patrol. Well, the battlefield is not a place for philosophy really, but I couldn't help thinking of the meeting that I had with that child, and I wondered to myself, perhaps if we all stayed like children, or perhaps even just were a little bit more childlike in our ways and in our attitudes and in our behavior, perhaps there would be no need for wars at all.